Thanks for tuning in to another Talking Points video. Today I've got a special treat. I've got one of my favorite co-founders in the entire industry. I got co-founder Jeffrey Rodman, co-founder of Polycom. So hello, Jeff.
Hello, Dave. It's nice to see your face and hear your charming voice.
Oh, it's always great. It's always so great to talk to you, Jeff. You're one of my favorite co-founders, like I said, in the industry. Co-founder implies another co-founder, and I think it's Brian Hinman is your other co-founder. And I never hear from Brian. Do you ever talk to Brian? I don't even think I've ever met the guy. I mean, what's up with Brian? Why isn't he around? Did he get laid off? Did he get laid off from Polycom? Is that what happened?
Poor boy. Yeah, it was a no. Brian is yes. We're still well in touch. Brian is one of those serial entrepreneurs that you read about. So when he left Polycom about 1997, he did so to go found 2Wire, which I think a lot of people are familiar with. Another very successful startup, was with that for a number of years, went into venture capital, and has since founded a wireless ultra high speed data connection company called Mimosa.
Mimosa. That's what I think of when I think of networking.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so the reason we're going to talk here about this is a little prelude here, but we're going to get to the big news about the Smithsonian and the SoundStation. But before we get to that, just a few little questions I got up for you. I don't know. I've only known you. I don't know. I've known you for a while, 7 years, whatever, something like that. But I don't know. Were you at Polycom the whole time? Are you the oldest employee, not oldest as an age, but longest serving employee at Polycom, or did you leave and come back? Or tell me a little bit about that.
No, I've been with Polycom continuously since we started the company in my basement in 1990.
That's a long time to have one job. So you probably don't even have like a resume or anything like that. You've never done one. Okay, so. And then help me understand, because I always get a little confused about this, is which came first, Polycom or PictureTel? There's some sort of complicated history there. Explain that one.
Okay, that's actually kind of a fun story. PictureTel started first. That was 1984. That was a VC-funded startup in Boston that I was recruited for to head the hardware engineering, developing a single channel, brilliant new technology video codec. And actually the algorithms that, and Brian Hinman was one of the co-founders of that. I was on the ground crew, but not technically as a founder. But that is where Brian and I met. So as PictureTel progressed through the 80s, and I came back to the West Coast, Brian and I had stayed in touch, and we're talking about, what does the world need next? And we realized that the focus of the industry and of customers had turned so much into video. Video is so exciting. I've got a TV station in my own company, and they were losing sight of why they wanted the video in the first place. And the reason was to be able to collaborate, to work together wherever they were.
Seems obvious to me.
Yeah. So we said, what if we were to start something whose goal is to let people, collaborate however they wanted, wherever they are, and that includes the audio and the video and the graphics and pieces of texting and being able to interoperate with other vendors who are out there with different solutions. And as we were with PictureTel, we realized that supporting open standards, contributing to open standards was going to be a big part of our own company's success. By sharing, become bigger.
So Polycom started and then a few years later acquired PictureTel. Is that correct?
That's correct. About 2001, Polycom acquired our old stomping grounds, PictureTel.
Wow.
Got some brilliant people and more great technology through that.
So then the way you described that, you kind of surprised me a little bit, because the way you described that is I thought Polycom started as an audio company, but you're suggesting it actually started as a video company.
It started as a collaboration company, and people are. It's easy to miss this part because our first product, the triangular speakerphone, has become so iconic, right? And that's what people associated with it. when I show people a picture of that, I then have to explain, well, that was our first product almost 30 years ago. You know, we're in video and total collaboration.
And you're talking about the product right behind you,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is it? Oh yeah, right. These guys, different versions of that thing. But the concept was always to include all of the ways. The only question is, which will we start with? What do we want to do with as our first product? But that's why the company is Polycom, not Speakerphone.com.
Apparently, something you did, something you were a part of, is now at the Smithsonian, and I'm not really sure if I know anyone personally that has contributed to something that was in the Smithsonian. So help me understand exactly what happened here. I understand the Smithsonian put the SoundStation, again, kind of what the original of what's behind you, into the electricity collection. So what is the first question is, what is the electricity collection?
The electricity collection is their collection of electrically related technology and devices from American history. So it is a collection of about 25,000 different pieces, but it includes a lot of communication technology. The two early telephones that they had, and the Morse code equipment. I mean, I felt, really honored that they had seemed to group those with the SoundStation.
I was surprised that they had the just reading about it. I wasn't there, obviously, but I was surprised that they had the iPod there. It said I think it was in one of Mary's interviews, she talked about the iPod was there, and a few some cellular phones. Let's see, I got a list here. iPod, Apple microcomputer, BlackBerry cell phone, Nintendo Game Boy. Now I tell you, I was a fan of the iPod, but it's a terrible conference saucer. I mean, that thing is kind of useless, to be honest. But so tell me how does this go about? I mean, who calls who? What exactly did Polycom gift? Was it one phone? Was it boxed? Did it come with a, tell me a little bit about what actually happened here.
I don't know how the first conversation happened or between who, but when the Polycom learned, when the Smithsonian learned that the Polycom technology could be available to the Smithsonian, they were very interested, because the things that you mentioned, most of what you mentioned, the Nintendo and so forth, right, those are not communication devices, but they are all devices that changed the way that people did what they had done previously.
Yes.
So by the same token, they have a piece of the collection, a lot of components in the collection that affected how people collaborate. And that's where they saw the SoundStation as being a part of that.
Now, the SoundStation truly, I think it's nice that they did this, because the SoundStation truly did. I mean, audio conferencing was generally a desktop speakerphone in speaker mode, and it was really a pretty bad experience. And the SoundStation really kind of changed that. There was obviously a lot of knockoffs and similar type of products that came out of it, but the Polycom SoundStation really was one of the first ones. What do you think made the SoundStation such a breakthrough? Was it the design? Was it the physical design, or the technical design, or what? Was it the pricing? What caused it to break through?
It was a combination, and I'll be honest. So I'm an engineer, right? I'm not primarily a marketing guy. And so I was a little bit puzzled as to why it was so darn successful. And during the first couple of years, as the sales continued to zoom for this $1,000 speakerphone, which was $1,195 was the price in the US. At a time you could buy a speakerphone at Radio Shack for probably $79.
Yeah.
So I was pestering our sales guys with why is this selling so well? And the best I could come up with was it was about 50-50. Half of it was that it was novel looking, and it was sort of a neutral gray, and it sort of got out of the way on a conference table. But the other was that it just worked so bloody well. After a couple of minutes, you place a call and it just disappears. You're now having the meeting that you had intended to have. You're not figuring out where's the speakerphone so I can shout at it and get my voice through. So the conversation was very natural, and the whole channel that we established just disappeared, the communication.
Now, from an engineering perspective, was there a particular component of the SoundStation that was new? Was there something about it that was kind of a breakthrough, or was it just the whole package was just complete?
I think it was the understanding that all of the pieces of it needed to be very tightly integrated, and we had to go do an immense amount of testing. So it was the physical configuration of speakers and mic, but also it was the DSP, it was the algorithms that were running.
Yeah.
It was how they meshed together.
Was it a full duplex speaker in the original? The original?
It was, and that was one of the primary points. Also, that the echo cancellation, both facing the line and facing the room, automatically and continuously calibrated, which was new.
Okay, so now the current incarnation of this is the Trio. Is that correct? Could you draw a line from the SoundStation to the current Trio, or what is the current incarnation of the SoundStation?
One of the current incarnations of the Trio is the Trio. We have several versions that have different sets of features or different interfaces depending upon what you need. The Trio is really revolutionary because it's the first time we've done a desktop device that can serve as the hub of a full-featured conferencing experience with graphics, with video, but you can choose what you want to do. If you just want a speakerphone, the Trio is the best on the planet.
Okay, so what I'm trying to get to here is, if from an audio only, forget the video and the screen sharing, all that stuff, from an audio only perspective, how is the current Trio different than the original SoundStation?
First, it has significantly greater range within a conference room.
So that's the microphone sensitivity?
Microphone sensitivity and what you do with the sound that you get. If all you do is turn up microphone gain, you're going to get a lot of room noise, and it's going to sound pretty poor.
Okay, good.
So having somebody who's 15, 20 feet away sounding like they're right there with you is quite a feat. Another is having full bandwidth, not just HD voice, which we also introduced, but full 20 to 20 kilohertz audio capability. So
very good.
Suitable for media as well as for human communication.
Okay, so what exactly does the Smithsonian now have? Does it have one phone? Does it have the documentation? Does it what exactly was gifted?
They have 3 boxes of stuff, and they have some documentation. And I'm currently working on enhancing these for both of on both of these axes. But we through the years, I had been, when we do something interesting or had an engineering model or something, I could never bear to throw this stuff out. So I just threw it in a box. I figured, someday we're going to have a lobby, we'll put it in a display case, and people will say, oh, look at that. A circuit board for the original SoundStation, isn't that cute? Well, we never put that display case in the lobby, but I did have those boxes. And so when this conversation opened up, I pulled out all this stuff and said, would you be interested in this? And they said, we want everything that helps explain how this happened, how this came to be. What's the process by which you create something like this? So they're interested in it, not for brand name Polycom. They're interested in this step forward in technology. How do these things happen? Because this can also educate other people for developing, their next steps.
All right.
It was kind of interesting. About halfway through his introduction, the director of the Smithsonian at the podium turned to me and said, I just want you to know you have touched that original speakerphone with your bare hands for the last time.
Oh, wow.
And all of their
Did you cry?
All of their guys who were tagging it and wrapping them and putting them into boxes at the end of this, they were wearing their white cotton gloves that they use for everything.
Oh, wow. That's so cool. That's so great. So now you've talked about the podium. You talked that you and Mary went there. So is this just a a, you know, I don't know if you call it a ceremony or whatever, but was this just a Polycom thing, or was this like the you know, the Hall of Fame induction where there were lots of companies being included, or what was actually going on? Was there a festivity? Was there an audience, or was it just kind of a meeting?
There was an audience of Smithsonian people, of Polycom people. There were, I think a few press there. It was not all companies. It was, you know, at the very, very core of it. If they said, oh my God, you don't have an hour, we misscheduled, you have 2 minutes. What do you have to get done? What we had to get done was get the stuff there, which we did, and sign the document that said Polycom gives this to the Smithsonian.
Wow, that's great.
So Mary and I signed that, and now it's theirs.
Okay, so now we've mentioned a few times, and again, referring to the pictures behind you, we've mentioned a few times about this triangular shape of the SoundStation, and I recall the older Polycom logo. I was going to say the original. I don't know if it's original. I recall the older Polycom logo. I think it was 5 triangles. Is that? I don't remember how many number a lot of triangles, a cluster of triangles. So, is there a relationship between the older logo and the shape of that SoundStation that I should know about?
The original logo was 3 triangles linked by a larger triangle.
Okay.
The concept behind that was what we were talking about at the beginning of this, which was we conceived the company as being voice and video and content. And the larger triangle is the network that connects them. And as you know, we've done some network side products to make them work.
I want to thank you very much for your time. I know that technology is kind of your side gig, and you're really primarily available for weddings and bar mitzvahs on the piano. Is that correct? Is that?
I do. Yeah, I do that too. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well, very good. Thank you so much, Jeff. It's always great talking to you.
Thanks. Great talking with you, Dave.